Hello there and welcome. This is Ask a Lawyer on CP24. We're back, you're back, this is good. In the next 30 minutes you will learn a lot. That much we can guarantee about employment law, workplace rights. That's why we're here. I am John Scholes, and momentarily on your screen, my good pal, employment lawyer from EmploymentLawyer.ca, Lior Samfiru, always telling you to reach out to Lior no matter what the matter. Could be small, could be huge. Make the phone call, send that email, 1-855-821-5900, ask@employmentlawyer.ca. We'll get to some other contact information throughout the half hour, and a lot of stuff to go. We got emails, we got questions, we got phone calls from our radio shows, and a main topic as well, is your severance offer fair? 3 things to know about that. That'll be in the second segment, plus a little later on, we'll get our good pal James Fireman from disabilityrights.ca. Same firm, different side. He's going to fill us in for a segment as well. So it is a busy show, as it always is here on Ask a Lawyer. So we will get started. Lior, good to have you along, pal. We always start off with the case of the day week that was, a story to warm us up. Pal, what do you got for us this week?
Hey, John, great to be here, of course. And, a few times actually in the past couple of weeks, just walking down the street, people walked up to me and said, hey, Lior, appreciate what you do on TV. I wish I would have known you back when I lost my job, and I know better now. Well, it's so important, though, that you're not in that situation, that you know better now, because you have entitlements. You have rights. You have an entire plethora of rights that are available to you and can help you and protect you. But if you don't make the call when you have a legal issue, then the law really doesn't matter. Make the call if you're dismissed, if you lost your job, if you're put on a temporary layoff, if you're mistreated in the workplace, discriminated against, anything to do with your work, your compensation. There are so many different laws and avenues that you have to pursue your entitlements to enforce those rights. And here's the thing, usually it's not even difficult to do so. Don't be afraid of the process. Don't walk away from rights that you have because you're just not sure if it's worth it. Make the call, of course, understand what your rights are, and then you can make a decision. On this show, we cover all these important topics that you need to know if you're working, if you have a job, if you lost your job. But beyond just this 30 minutes of the show, I'm not going anywhere. My team's not going anywhere. We still want to talk to you and make sure that we help you. So that leads us, of course, to the case of the day, a situation that came across my desk just over the past few days. I spoke with an individual who lost his job supposedly for cause. Here's what happened to him. His employer every year would provide a memo to employees saying, here are your targets for the next year, every year. And this person almost never met those targets. He never met them. And no one ever really said anything other than to give him another memo at the following year saying, here's your targets. Well, he was called into a meeting with HR recently and said, listen, Bob, you realize that for the past 6 years, you haven't met the targets. Come on, how much longer do we have to wait? We're going to let you go for cause, off you go, and of course, no severance to you. So he called me. He wanted to understand, can they do that? Not can they let me go, but can they let me go for cause and avoid paying me severance at all? Well, the answer, of course, is no, they cannot. And the reason for that is because the company never did anything. There was no consequences. They never provided him with negative performance reviews. They never give him warnings. They never provided him with training or support so that he can improve his performance. One day they just decided, hey, now we really mean this. Now we really mean the fact that you have to meet those targets, and because you didn't, you're gone. It doesn't work that way. For an employer to be able to terminate for cause because of bad performance, they have to show that the employee was given an opportunity, was told that there's going to be consequences, was offered support and training, and then maybe the company can terminate for cause. Even that will be a challenge. This company did none of that. That is a wrongful dismissal. This person is owed their full severance. He had been there for over 6 years. He's probably looking at 8 to 9 months pay. I'm going to help him get that. But the lesson, of course, the message is very, very clear. It's difficult to terminate employment for cause. It's the capital punishment of the employment relationship. The employer is expected to build its case. They can't just jump into it. If your employer seeks to or tries to terminate you for cause, call me. Chances are you are still owed your full severance.
I want to remind you as well, EmploymentLawyer.ca, where Lior and I can join us every week pretty much across the country. Grab one of our radio shows, opportunities to call in, ask your questions as well. We play them back here. We talk about them a bit. First one for this show, Lior, is coming right up. Listen up.
I just lost my job after 11 years due to the impact of the tariffs. I was in a professional role making, about $110,000 a year plus a $15,000 bonus. My employer gave me 1 week's pay per year of service as severance. That's it. Should I be asking for more?
Tariffs calls already?
Yeah.
Right?
I've been getting a few of those, quite a few of those now. Employees either losing their job or getting ready for that. Listen, it's going to impact people, so you have to understand what your rights are. Now, with this particular caller, I think a lot of people would have thought to say, hey, he was there for 11 years. They give him a week per year. That's 11 weeks. That sounds okay. Except it's not. It's not even close to being okay. He's owed so much more. I'm going to show you how you can find out how much he's owed, how much you're owed if you lost your job. We're going to use the severance calculator tool. You can find that at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Let's use that right now and see what we get. So we know that this person is older in his 60s, been there for 11 years, was offered 11-week severance. You see right there, he's owed as much as 14 months. 14 months of severance. Forget about this nonsense of a week per year of service. It's false. It's not true. It's not the law. That's how much he's owed. You can check it out for yourself at EmploymentLawyer.ca.
Great call and lots more to go. We're just getting warmed up here. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, as mentioned, that main topic, 3 things to know about that severance package. Is it fair? We'll cross that bridge momentarily. Stay with us right here on Ask a Lawyer on CP24.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer on CP24. Get into our main topic momentarily, but always reaching out to Lior and his team. Fantastic idea. It's simple as a phone call, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Use that little QR code in the top right as well. If you got your phone out, you can scan that. Main topic time, and this one is you cannot underestimate or overestimate the importance of this one this week, Lior. Is your severance package fair based on kind of what you just talked about with EmploymentLawyer.ca? I want to get to these because people need to listen up. You have to find out, number one, if it's a for cause or without cause termination. Break that down for me.
So I touched on this right at the beginning of the show. The only time your employer can avoid paying you severance is if you've done something awful, something terrible, something that's so bad that it's just not possible to continue employing you. That almost never happens. So you have to understand that anything that's not that, anything that's not a termination for cause is what we call a without cause termination, meaning you are owed your full severance. That can be as much as 24 months pay. It can even be more than that in some situations. So unless you know that you stole, you hit somebody, you committed fraud, unless you know that's your situation, you know automatically full severance is owed, and you have to make sure you don't just sign off on that piece of paper. Chances are you're owed much more than what you've been offered.
Second thing you need to know, equally importantly, or is this: review your contract and severance calculation factors. Wait, there might be a website just for that. What do you think?
So now that we know we're owed severance, the issue is, well, let's figure out how much severance we're owed. The starting point often is an employment agreement. We want to see, does the employment agreement stipulate how much severance? Does it try to limit us? By the way, the good news is, even if your employment agreement tries to limit your severance, oftentimes, most often, we can get around that and still get you your full severance. But we want to start there. Then it's time to assess entitlements. You can go to EmploymentLawyer.ca, use the severance calculator, or call me. You don't like me, call another employment lawyer. That's okay. But you have to do that. You cannot accept what your employer is offering you. You cannot take their word for it. Too many times, people call me after it's too late. Oh, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I was under pressure. There was this deadline. Do the smart thing. Do the right thing. Go to EmploymentLawyer.ca or just give me a call.
And the third thing you have to do, just take a beat, man, take a breath, don't sign anything, just ease back, take some time to look at the offer, and of course, call Lior and his team before you sign anything, right?
So your employer is counting on the fact that you're going to be in a state of mind where you're not making good decisions. You just lost your job. You're terrified about how you're going to make ends meet, how you're going to pay your bills, and your employer is offering you some compensation, but with a deadline. You want this compensation, employee, you better accept this by Friday at 5. It's a pressure tactic, really trying to put that pressure on you in a time when you're the most vulnerable. Well, now that you know that, now that you understand that, don't do it. Now you can understand you have rights. Those rights don't expire Friday at 5. Take a deep breath, take your time. You don't have to worry about that deadline. You don't have to worry about these arbitrarily imposed conditions. So make sure you do the right thing. Let's talk about it. Let's get you what you're owed. In most cases, this situation will be a distant memory very, very quickly.
That's our main topic for this week. Let's move on. We got time before the break to get into phone call number 2. Lior, let's have a listen.
A friend of mine works at a small boutique store, and the manager now is saying that the schedule is going to change in the future, and going forward, it's going to be my way or the highway. Basically, I'm not going to recognize whether your husband or your kid's school schedule is in the way. If you don't follow what we're telling you to do in the schedule, you're going to be out.
That's my kind of boss right there.
Wouldn't everyone want a boss like that?
That's right.
Well, aside from the fact that it's not a good thing to do, it's also not a legal thing to do. Let's put aside the family obligation just for a second. Your employer doesn't have a right to just change the terms of your employment. So if you work days, they can't say, well, I'll decide if you work days or nights or anything else. They don't have the right to do that. That could be a constructive dismissal, meaning you can force this issue to be considered a termination and get your severance. But there's another issue that this person mentioned. An employer may have to accommodate based on family status, based on family obligations. So if you need your employer support to be able to pick up your kids at a certain time because there's no one else that can do that, your employer must provide that accommodation. They can't say no. That could be a human rights violation. So yes, this employer is doing it wrong, illegally. There's going to be consequences if that employer pursues that, but at least now you know that your employer cannot just change the terms of your employment.
Good stuff, Lior. Let's take a short break. We're going to sidestep a little bit. Got our good pal James Fireman, who's a partner at Disability Rights, on with us for a few minutes to talk about that angle of what the firm does. That is all coming up, so stay with us. Ask a Lawyer here on CP24.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer. This is CP24. John Scholes here, and joining me momentarily, we swapped out Lior momentarily for a little bit. We got James Fireman here from DisabilityRights.ca. Reach out to James and his team as well. The number's the same, 1-855-821-5900. Email is ask@DisabilityRights.ca. Again, use that QR code. That's up on the top right of your screen. All right, James, let's get into this. We got a phone call to go. We got questions for you, but first, a little brief synopsis of what you do. Right.
Well, we know what Lior and his team are there for. They're there anytime you have any issue with your employment situation. Likewise, we have a whole other team of lawyers at the firm that deals exclusively with disability rights. So if you have long-term disability through your employer, and most people do, and you're medically unable to continue working, that's when we come into play. Now, most people don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about their long-term disability policy until they need it, until they're medically unable to continue working. And so wherever you are in the process, if you've just discovered that you can't work anymore, you have a condition that's preventing you from working, and you're looking to apply for long-term disability benefits, or if you've applied and you're having issues with your insurer in the adjudication phase, or if you've applied and you've been denied or your benefits have been cut off, that's exactly what me and my team are there for. If you are having any issues with your long-term disability insurer, you give us a call. It's a free consultation, and we'll walk you through whatever steps you're going to need to go through in order to successfully deal with your insurance company and get the result that you're entitled to.
Luckily, my friend, I have a phone call lined up for you as well, so let's get to that. James, listen up.
I work in marketing for a tech company, and it have been on LTD for anxiety and depression after a serious car accident. And it's been well over a year, And now my insurer says I should be back at work, even though my doctor says I'm not ready. Can they do that?
No, they can't. This is something that we hear all the time. And it's really important to say this as clearly as I possibly can. If you are off work for medical reasons, the decision to go back to work is a medical decision. That means it is a decision that should be made with your doctors, with your treatment team. It's not a decision that should be dictated by your insurance company or by your employer or by a lawyer. It is something that you want to talk to your doctor about and make sure that you're returning when you're medically ready to do so. Now, the reality is a lot of people like this caller find themselves in a situation where they're not medically ready to return to work and their doctor says they're not ready to return to work, but their insurer or their employer is saying, no, we need you to come back. In that situation, that's exactly what we are there for, to help guide you through the process, whether it's an issue with your insurer or with your employer. Our team is there ready to help you in order to make sure that you're making the correct decisions, to put yourself in the best position in order to make sure that you're not going back earlier than you should, that your medical needs are going to be met, and that your insurance and employment needs are also going to be met.
Want to throw a viewer question again, ask at disabilityrights.ca anytime, right? It says, how does CP disability and LTD benefits interact? Do I have to apply for both? What do you think, James?
So this can be pretty complicated if you really want to get into the details. Very shortly, CPP disability, Canada Pension Plan Disability, is a program offered by the federal government. If you're entitled or if you're paying into the Canada Pension Plan and you become disabled from working, you could be entitled to CPP disability benefits. Most long-term disability benefits will say that if you are entitled to apply, then the insurance company is entitled to an offset of what you are receiving or would receive if you had applied. Because of that, it means that for almost everybody, it is a very good idea to apply for long-term disability benefits. Now, if you're approved, you're not going to wind up getting more money at the end of the day, because whatever money you get from CPP disability, you're going to wind up getting less from your own insurer. But it is still a very good idea to apply. Even if the money winds up being a reduction in your monthly benefit from your insurer, it still makes your disability claim with your insurer stronger. And one of the real benefits is if your insurer were to ever cut you off, it means that you're actually going to wind up paying less in legal fees down the road because you have to recover less money now. You're getting a big bulk of it from your CPP disability claim.
James, appreciate your time. Always reach out to James if you have more questions about that side of what the firm does. We'll take a short break, and Lior is coming right back with more questions and answers on the way here on Ask a Lawyer on CP24. Stay with us.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. Ask a Lawyer on CP24. Got a few minutes to go. Lior's coming back. We're going to get to a phone call momentarily, but here's the contact information one more time for Lior. 1-855-821-5900 by phone. Back it up with that email address, ask@EmploymentLawyer.ca. Love wrapping the show up recently, Lior, with a phone call, so we're going to do that now. So have a listen. Let's get some answers happening. Here you go.
He worked in the transportation area. He has been with the company for 6 years. The company seemed to be doing okay, but when he walked into the office Monday, within 5 minutes, he was told that he was laid off. There is a shortage of work. He was paid what was owing to him for his last trip that he did. His vacation pay was paid to him, and that was it.
Like a bucket of water in the face, man. What do you think?
Well, this is completely illegal. Now, we're missing some information here. Specifically, we don't know why this employer thinks that they somehow can terminate employment and not pay severance. It's not legal. But that's a few reasons as to why they may think that. Maybe they look at it as a temporary layoff. Oh, we're not letting you go. We're just putting you off work temporarily so we don't have to pay you. That would be wrong. You can't do that in most cases. An employee can still treat that as a termination. Maybe they think if it's a transportation company, they're federally regulated, maybe different rules apply, they don't have to pay severance. Maybe this company is just ignorant as to its own obligations. Either way, for all those reasons, none of those actually change the fact that severance has to be paid. You don't get to avoid paying severance by calling a termination something else. So this company has to pay severance. The last thing that we need to do is figure out how much severance they must pay. For that, we're going to go back to the severance calculator. You can find that at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Let's use that right now and see what we get. So we know that this person is a transport driver. He's 62 years of age, been there for 6 years. Company says, yeah, no, you don't get severance. Nonsense. We see right there he's owed 6 to 8 months of severance. That's how much severance is owed. By the way, for you at home, this severance calculator tool that I mentioned, it's completely free. It's completely anonymous. It's there for you to use anytime if you lost your job, if you're worried about losing your job, or maybe you're just curious. Check it out at EmploymentLawyer.ca.
You know, Lior, quickly, for any other truckers watching the show tonight, you mentioned federally regulated, provincially. Does it make a difference?
With respect to your full termination entitlements, whether you're federally regulated or provincially regulated, it does not matter. Your minimum entitlements may be different in either of those scenarios, but it doesn't really matter. Your full entitlements are based on your age, your position, the length of your employment, and that's what matters. And I see oftentimes with truck drivers, it's almost like the Wild West out there. If you're a trucker and you lost your job, you have the same rights as everyone else. Call me or go to PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca.
Or maybe you're just a contractor. That's what they often hear, right? Not true.
With truckers, that happens very often. Yep. They're classified as owner-operators or independent contractors. It doesn't work that way. If you work for one company, they tell you where to go and what to do. You are their employee, even if they call you something else. Doesn't matter what they call you. Doesn't matter what piece of paper you've signed. If you look like an employee, if you act like an employee, you're not going to be shocked to learn that, yeah, you are an employee. And that pretty much does it for this show. Appreciate you tuning in for this particular show. Always reach out to Lior now that we're done. We tell you that all the time. Phone number first, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at EmploymentLawyer.ca. You want that severance calculator, use it on your own. That is PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca. For any other concerns, cp24.com/askalawyer. We'll catch you next time right here on Ask a Lawyer. Thanks for tuning in.